definitely tough. That being said, hold on. Why does it say? Oh, there we go. Now we're live. Okay. Thought it wasn't working for a second. We are live. What's up, everybody? And we were just talking about how challenging the NBA is right now. That being said, we have seen some good games recently. I know a lot of people were pissed because most people had Denver, but that was a fun game last night, Nuggets, Clippers. And we've seen some good ones. It's just there's a lot of bad ones in there as well. So tonight we do have 12 games on the board, and there's a couple decent ones. But there's definitely several that I passed on. We'll see if these guys like anything. But, yeah, we got 12 games, so let's just get right into it. First up is Oklahoma City at Indiana, and I have a bet on this one, actually. And I even got some closing line value, which has meant absolutely nothing recently, but I got a point. So I got the under at 235.5. It's now, I think, at 234.5. I think this is just way too high. I think let me put the graphic up. So I know the main storyline in this matchup is no SGA and no Jalen Williams, right? Obviously, that dramatically affects Oklahoma City's offense. No question. Who knows if they even are able to run the fast break at the same pace? Who knows if they're able to even run the same type of offense? Most likely not. And so I don't even feel like I need to go into why Oklahoma City should be less efficient offensively, because I feel like it's pretty obvious. But on the other side, Oklahoma City is actually first in the NBA in defensive efficiency at the basket in the last 10 games. So they've been protecting the rim at an elite level. Does SGA and Jalen Williams being out really affect that much? Now, I'm sure NBA is a team sport, team defense. I'm sure it does affect them in certain ways, but I don't expect a huge drop-off from the interior defense from Oklahoma City. And the reason that's important, that's what the Pacers do. They attack the basket. That's what that offense has done all season. So this is an Oklahoma City team that does not let their opponents get out in the fast break. Hopefully that's still a thing without those two pieces. And they protect the rim. So I think Oklahoma City, I can't really trust them offensively without those two guys, but I trust their defense to go on the road here and give Indiana problems. I wanted to take the points because I figured everyone was going to be coming in on Indiana and just being like, oh, Oklahoma City sucks without those guys. And obviously this is still a good team. But I feel more comfortable on the under. So I got the under at 235.5. I'd still take it at 234.5. What about you, gentlemen?
I'm with you on the under. Oh. Not to so to the degree that it sounds like your confidence is. Like I leaned it in my video this morning because I think this finishes right around that like 228 to 231 range, which is kind of getting, pretty sweaty towards that number. But I think it's a line that's too high. And even weirdly enough, you don't think of it when you think of the Pacers or the Thunder, but the transition defense for both the teams have actually been pretty decent. And decent kind of it breeds like a 230 game, not a 235, not a 238, not a 240. So I am with you on the under.
All right, 2 for the under. Josh?
I got a ton of bets in here. So I hit the under at 235.5. This is my most bet game for real.
Okay.
235.5 under I liked. I hit that. I hit the Pacers at 4.5 in video last night. I know it's up to like 5.5 or 6, but it's not just like, oh, the Pacers are going to wipe the floor with a team that doesn't have its two best players. It's like, I don't think they can come along for the ride with the scoring is really what it comes down to, like you were saying. And I mean, it's not necessarily fair to judge them based on the two games this year because they played Joel Embiid's first game back and then they played Boston wiped the floor with them in the third quarter. But what was interesting to me is they're kind of just punting at this point too. So I think the Pacers can run away with this one because the thing that tells me they're punting is not just I do think SGA and J-Dub could both be playing if it was the playoffs right now. It's also that in that game against Philly, they were winning that game in the third quarter. And they took Josh Giddey out and kept him at his 28 minutes and didn't continue to play him, which was great for an under if you had the PA, the points and assists under like I did. But it was also indicative that you wouldn't take out your only ball handler playmaker left in the game if you were really serious about winning while you're up in the third quarter against this team playing really well. That was a complete punt to me. Then he plays the same amount of minutes in the third quarter, which was not normal. Like, it was like a little bit less against the Celtics, and they were still in that game at the half, if you remember. And then third quarter just got blown out, and they were like, good, we don't want Giddey in there anyway. So I don't see him playing more than 28 minutes. Now you're talking about like Kason Wallace and like Wiggins as their ball handler playmakers. I don't think they can come along for the ride, and I think that Indy team will just get it and go, to be honest. So I still think the under is a good play because of the fact that the Thunder aren't going to score. But the last thing there is all correlated to what I said. The last bet is Josh Giddey under 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's my player prop in this game that I already hit as well. It's at 32.5, so a little bit of line value there for me as well. But like I said, it's partly that 28 minutes feels like a good cap for him at this point. The way that I don't think they care about winning anymore. They're good with the 3 seed, even with Denver losing last night to the Clippers, which opens a small window. It's still not big enough for them to just change their game plan that they've clearly had for the last couple games, which is we're good, man. Like, we're good with where we're at, and we're going to just kind of take it into the postseason at this point.
Yeah, I like what you said about Giddey's minute cap. I didn't notice that personally, and definitely gives you a little more confidence with my under. I'm glad I didn't take the points with Oklahoma City because that kind of makes a strong case for Indiana, specifically in the second half, right? So, yeah, maybe even an Oklahoma City team total under if you haven't already bet it. But I'm in on the under, and I'm cool with it. But based on what you just said about Giddey and what they've done the last 2 games, yeah, maybe a live bet. If this game is close, a live Indiana bet, maybe catch Indiana minus 6.5 live at half or something.
Right. Plus, dude, I'm using your logic where the Pacers crushed the Nets, punt the next game looking ahead. They did the same thing recently where they played the LA teams sandwiched with Chicago. They lost to Chicago. They beat both the LA teams. It seems like a little bit of a trend here for this Pacers squad. Yeah, and we know when it comes to the Pacers, they're a team that doesn't play consistent defense. They're not terrible, but their defense is very inconsistent. And when you have a team that's playing inconsistent defense, you could always count on a bad team staying in the game against them. Right.
So let's move on to the next one. We spent way too much time on this one. Portland.
Josh had a million bets in it.
I love that game.
he loves this game. He's saying too much time, not enough time.
All right, guys, I got 6 bets in Portland, Washington. Okay, so that being said, I actually do have a bet in this game.
Me too.
Do you really? All right, so yeah. I'll go first because my mic is spiking again. Sorry about that, guys. I'll go first because the reasoning for mine is very simple. And I don't want to get the numbers wrong, so I'm going to put my bet on the screen, but then I'm going to go open up my window to make sure I read it off right. Washington has handled their Washington's not good, and they're also missing a lot of pieces. This is not I'm not going to sit here and testify for the Wizards, trust me. But one thing they do, and I actually want to get the numbers right, so just give me 1 second and pull it up. Wizards. So one thing Washington does is they handle their business against bad teams. Against good teams, they're terrible, but against the bottom 5 offenses, they're 7-4 against the spread. Against bottom 5 defenses, 8-6 against the spread. So this Washington team has a really nice hit rate against bad teams, and we're catching Portland off a win where we hit. If you were watching, whoever was watching the other day, I had Portland at plus money on the ticket, which is a rare appearance for Portland on my ticket. So Portland coming off a win. This Washington team is still playing hard. I know. There's no Kuzma in this one. They're also missing Tyus Jones has been out. Shamet's been out, but they're also missing Bagley. So this is a banged-up Wizards team, but do I even need to read off the injury report for Portland? Because it's equally disgusting, if not more so. And if you look at the Wizards' last 5 games, I mean, they just covered against the Lakers where the Lakers were in control start to finish, but the Wizards were battling in the second half. This team was not laying down. They beat the Bucks. They got beat up by the Heat, but, I mean, they lost by 12. So it's not like they laid down. They lost to the Pistons, but they took the Nets to overtime. The point is, all I'm trying to see in these game logs is this team punting or not? And I think all signs point to no. They're still playing hard, the pieces that are out there. And against Portland on the road, maybe that's all you need. It's just a team that's playing hard to get the W here. So I did bet Washington. It's not one of my favorites, but I got another one. I got Washington at -2. So another day where I'm cleaning up CLV that I'll probably get washed later, but I'm cleaning up CLV for now. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Josh.
Okay,
I got nothing there.
Okay, I figured, like, I mean, you don't have to watch this game. Disclaimer, like, you can bet on it and not watch it. I highly recommend that. It will be a disgrace to basketball. It would have been way faster for you to just say who's playing for Portland, right? Like, look at their actual lineup, and you can just go, okay, what's a Ray and Rupert, right? I mean, I pride myself on knowing a lot of basketball players. Never even glimpsed Ray and Rupert's name before in my life. I'm going under because there's not two NBA offenses on the floor here, and I lost value because I took it at 221.5, and it's at 224 now. So people are a little bit more in agreement with like some scoring coming in this game. But I mean, just look at the offense for Portland, 30th in everything: offensive rating, effective field goal percentage. They have the second highest turnover percentage. They are not getting to the free throw line. It's the second worst free throw attempt rate, right? Like, there's nothing to like there. For Washington, yeah, they've had good offensive outputs against bad teams, but it's actually also been their defense that's been a calling card against bad teams, where they have like the 7th best defensive rating over the last like 7 games because their schedule is like the easiest in the league over their last 7 games, right? So they played all those poo-poo competition that you just read off on their box score and their game logs. Like, that's sort of what happens here for me, is like Johnny Davis and Patrick Baldwin Jr. are going to be getting a lot of time for the Wizards. Like, I think I could just end my point there.
Yeah, so enough said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on the Wizards. He's on the under. Actually, the poll is leaning towards Blazers, so people watching are leaning Blazers, but 25% of you click pass. So I think it's an overwhelming pass here.
I think maybe some people are like, DeAndre Ayton's just going to clean up. He's playing against like zero centers for the Wizards.
I'm worried about Ayton a little bit, yeah. But other than that, there's not one piece on that roster that worries me in the slightest. Orlando at Charlotte, and this one is a straight pass for me. So if you guys want to take the mic, it would only be Magic, but I wasn't really in a hurry to lay the 12 points. So it'd be Magic or pass for me. And I'll put Orlando up on the screen, but if you guys want to take the mic and have anything to say.
Yeah, I have a player prop. I didn't get it to you because I just kind of locked it in. And honestly, it's not something that I'm loving, so I'm not trying to convince anyone of it. But kind of fits the game script of what I think and just the matchup. So I like Miles Bridges over 2.5 assists due to the fact that he likes to score at the rim. Magic, good at preventing the rim. The problem there is even if he kicks out or anything like that, Charlotte's garbage from deep and jump shooting. So there's the risk. But I think he's averaging, I looked at it this morning, it was like 6.4 potential assists over his last 10. And again, it's not necessarily the best matchup on paper because Magic don't let up a lot of assists or anything like that. But Miles Bridges is either going to chuck it from deep or try and get to the rim. If he tries to get to the rim, he's not going to have the easiest time against them here. I think he has a couple more opportunities of pass and catch from guys around him. Like I said, crapping on my own pick. The reason that this probably doesn't hit is because he's going to have a bunch of potential assists and guys are going to hit everything on the backboard but not go in. Like there's some bricks that the Charlotte team throws up.
Yeah, we all know they're capable of that. And the Hornets were playing some defense a couple weeks ago. That doesn't exist anymore. They might be the worst defense in the league all of a sudden. Josh, anything here?
Yeah, I just have a player prop too. I'm taking Micic again. Vasilije Micic. I can spell that out for you if you need to, or you can just write M-I-C-I-C.
Vaseline. That's what we call him.
Vaseline.
I don't need his first name. Micic is fine.
I've heard you call that Ev. Yeah, for Micic, first of all, huge fan of Micic on the Land Your Bet show. I will say that everybody who's watching that one knows I've been betting on this dude every time he plays against a team like the Magic. Over an 11.5 points. My bad. I got that minus 105 at the opening line. And I didn't know if it was going to go up or not, but I mean, I figured some people would see he scored 20.5 points in his last 2 against this team on the Hornets. And, you know, we know how many people like to look at recent stats and just go, okay, great, over, because there's green on props.cash or whatever. But for this one, it is like, dude just is the ball handler in the pick and roll now at a level that's like in the top like 85th percentile of the league is how often he's the ball handler in pick and roll. They have no other offense in Charlotte. They really have no offense in general. But against the Magic, there's a reason he's scoring this many points. You can score above the break. They give up the 5th most points per game and points per possession to the pick and roll ball handler. So if that's what dude's going to keep doing, he's taking 11 shots a game against them. I need him to get 12 on 11 shots, including 3 threes. Like I doing the math there, like this should hit at about 13 points. And so I took it with enough value at minus 105.
All right. Micic over 11.5 points. And Miles Bridges over 2.5 assists and a lean to the Magic. I'm not betting this. Oh, by the way, our poll on that one, 59% Orlando, 31% pass. Just 9% of the viewers said they would take the points with Charlotte. Just 9. So no one's betting the Hornets here, and for good reason. All right, so we got Sacramento at Boston next. Actually, this is you would think that this is a game I took a look at. I have zero interest in this game. To me, the Celtics have come down to trying to predict whether or not they're going to give a shit. And that's not I don't really have interest in doing that. Like, could we take a look and try to find some patterns on which games we see effort and which games we don't? Sure, but I didn't care to. So this is another straight pass for me. I do have a lot of bets down, not here. So straight pass. Either of you guys?
I lean towards the Celtics because I'm a Celtics fan, for one, biased. That was when Jaylen Brown is questionable. I believe he's been ruled out now. The line only dropped from like 10 to 9, which is, doesn't, do any justice towards that. And I guess it's mainly based on Sacramento back-to-back. They're terrible on back-to-backs. They are on the road. They're a good cover team on the road this year. But again, being a back-to-back, and they've only covered 30% of their games on
something
on
I will say, though,
year.
And I just happen to know this because I did it in a video. Sacramento did start the season 0-5 on back-to-backs. So if you look at it through that light, not quite as bad as of late.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's still even say you don't tell me that, and I still trust the 30% back-to-back cover rate, meaning 70% not cover. It's not enough to say let the Celtics win by double digits, because the Celtics team, yes, they did just whoop win by 35 points, but there is a level of we're the number one seed and we might cool off. Now I'm a believer in I watch every dribble of this team. They might still be trying to prove like we're not going to take our foot off the gas because we need to head into the playoffs playing well. But you can win by 7 points against a decent Sacramento team playing well. You don't need to win by double digits. So lean towards the Celtics.
Yeah, I guess if you put a gun to my head and force me to take a side, it would probably be Boston, but there's no way. There's no chance. This isn't even like, we'll see later. I'm not betting this.
There's enough games on today to find other.
And I have a good amount too. I got a nice one later. Josh?
Derek White's out too. I think that if you were going to take Boston, the thing to look at is like that Sacramento 3-point defense, but it's actually gotten better because now we're getting a lot of Davion Mitchell and Keon Ellis. We're not getting Huerter and Malik Monk anymore. So that 3-point defense is now filled with like 3-point specialists. It's a little bit different team, but my bet is under 18.5 points for Domas. I took the under on just his points because I'm not a psychopath to take under on his rebounds when he can get 20. But really, it's like this is something he's done very consistently, going under this number against Boston in 5 of his last 6 games against them, dating back to like 3 seasons now. And, they've already had pretty good down low defense, but now it's been even better this season with Kristaps and Al Horford down there. Obviously, even Jason Tatum doing work. So, the stuff for Domas is going to be hard to come by as far as the points go. He's only at like 11.5 field goal attempts a game in his last 10. Against this team, he's taken about 13 shots a game, and they're all twos. They're all right around the basket. It's like 1 3-point attempt. He's gone to the free throw line like 5 times a game against them. They don't give up free throws either. Second best free throw attempt rate to their opponent. So like if he has to take like too many shots, basically all 2-pointers all around the rim, I think they'll be forcing him to kick it out, which is what their defense does. It doesn't give up field goal attempts from down low, and then it gives up a little bit more on the spot up stuff when he kicks it out to shooters. Okay,
so Sabonis under points. Polls leading toward. Actually, it looks like a lot of people are betting Boston because there's not many people click pass. So the poll was 62%, 25% Celtics. So actually, viewers are taking Boston here. Not
Derek White's out too, right? He also got pulled out. Yep. Yeah.
Next game, damn it. I was hoping to get to one of the ones I bet. Not yet. We'll get there. Raptors plus 15, Bucks minus 15. I will say someone in the Discord was saying that Bucks laying the points is the lock of like their favorite bet of the month or something. And I mean, I can't say I disagree. I know the Bucks are missing a lot of pieces, but this Raptors team, I thought we would see a little bit of a resurgence with RJ Barrett and quickly back in the lineup. I was very wrong. They look terrible, and there's just no way. To be honest, I am probably closer to betting Milwaukee alt line minus 24.5 than I am to taking the points with Toronto. They're so bad, and I got smoked with them a couple nights back. I took them plus 12.5 against the Lakers in a spot that I thought was really nice. It wasn't a huge bet, but I put my money on Toronto, and what I saw in the second half of that game, well, I put Toronto into the filing cabinet for next season. I will not be putting my money on that team for the rest of the year. I don't care if they win 5 in a row. They're done. They're on the shelf. We'll talk next year, Toronto. It'd be Milwaukee or pass, but it's a pass.
I'm actually on Toronto.
No, you're not. Dude, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think I need to talk some sense. Just don't do it.
So the Bucks, that's the reason. The Bucks, I'm taking the points because I'm fading Milwaukee. Backdoor cover, it screams backdoor cover here. This is a Bucks team that I think on the season, actually, they're like the number 1 fourth quarter scoring team. Don't quote me on that, but in the last, it's like 5 or 7 games, they've literally dropped to like 24th, 25th. They just are not closing out games. Say what you want about winning games, or like they've been doing a lot lately, losing games. They're definitely in like a bounce back spot here because of the 2 losses from, to Washington and Memphis. But I actually did take an alt line. I think it was like -138 on FanDuel for +17.5. So if there's a little bit where we can both potentially win there, Sauce.
I'm not betting it, so I'll root for you. I'm not betting it.
But to me, it's just like a spot in which this Milwaukee team, like, it's just too many points. It's a team where I think they win. I'm not telling anyone to bet Toronto money line or anything like that, but it's just too many points. And I was surprised that I actually, finalized it. Like, it was definitely something I leaned towards, and I locked in the 17.5 just because I was like, it's just too many points. Like, I can't see a 20-point win here.
You are bold, sir.
I'm a psycho.
I know some people that I consider intelligent that took them 17.5 too.
No,
so like,
come on,
including you, obviously, Ev.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like some other,
not him,
people.
Other people.
Some people that are intelligent. I was like,
am I one of them? Nah, but just to add to your thing, but I agree. Like, until Dame got ruled in, because everything you just said, Ev, is what I was looking at too for a reason to take Toronto. This is a pass for me. It would have been Toronto, but it's a pass because with Dame in, that is a big reason for that fourth quarter collapse. Like, it hasn't been Dame time quite as much, right? With Giannis, who, bagless Giannis, as people like on Twitter like to call him, right? Having to have him be what you rely on as like your fourth quarter offense hasn't been great for them. So I don't see a world, and I don't think we live in a world where Toronto could actually win this game. But I do think that like they could definitely cover if Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett also play. That's the last point, is like, I don't know if they're going to get more than 28 minutes. They're going to cap it like they did last game, and then the Lakers ran away with it as soon as those guys were off the floor. So that would be what scares me about this one, taking Toronto now.
Yeah, and also the Bucks coming off ugly losses.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Embarrassing.
Luck. So you want to know who won the poll? 35% of you said pass. It might be the first time pass won the poll. And then 32% split down the middle. So undecided on this one.
Does that pass get in the parlay later? It's like it's a lock. It's a lock of the century.
Yeah. Pass makes the community parlay.
It came out even.
Bulls. Another one I didn't bet, but I have more that I bet. We're just not getting there yet. I can tell you I wanted to get there with the Knicks, and that's the only way I'd go. The Knicks are kind of calling my bluff here. I took the under in Knicks Heat a few nights back. Lost by 1.5, but then I took the Knicks team total under last night against the Kings, and I like that bet. Man, they scored like 70 points in the second half, and I guess the Knicks outside shots are falling again now. And if the three-point shot's going to fall for the Knicks, we have to handicap this team completely different, because I was basing the Knicks offense on the fact that they're shooting inefficiently from outside, in which case they don't really have an offense if those shots aren't falling. But if the three-point shot is falling, all of a sudden the Knicks offense looks pretty good at times. So against a Bulls defense that can't defend the three, it would only be Knicks here for me. But, I mean, I'm not thrilled with the idea of taking the Knicks after a comeback win, fly all the way out to Chicago. I really don't like the spot for New York, as I'm sure these guys would agree. So it'll be Knicks or pass for me, but this is another one I didn't bet.
Kind of in the same boat for the same reasons.
Well, I did bet over on this one. I took it at 211.5, and now I know it's at 212.5 now, but I think it's still good. I think it's like a 216.
I like the
total.
over also, by the way.
Yeah, the stuff I have for the over is just like it's a lot of trends, to be honest with you, because like it's the Knicks on the road. They're scoring. Their games are averaging almost 11 more points per game on the road than at home since the All-Star break specifically, and then and it's been a bit more of an over for them on the road in general. The Bulls the exact opposite, actually going over a bit more at home. And averaging about 225 at home since the All-Star break. They've gone over in 10 straight at home. The Knicks have gone over 9 straight on the road, and I'm talking about 211 over, not the overs for their actual like lines that they closed at, but they've gone over this number 9 straight times on the road, 10 straight times at home for the Bulls. So the little bit of pace, like you were saying, like if the Knicks are hitting threes, which is what their offense is predicated on, then there should be a few more points theirs. I don't think they can stop DeMar DeRozan, who's gone over this against this team, and his props a ton as well. So yeah, it all just does lead a little bit more, few more points than the 211 that we have here. And I tried to take an under Kings and Knicks. Kings have been a huge under lately, but Knicks have been the best under or over in the league in the last 10 games. Somehow,
it makes no sense. Wild. It makes no sense.
Yeah, the world is upside down when those two teams are on the opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I felt the same way about the game last night. I isolated Knicks team total under, but clearly we saw it similarly. Knicks in the second half looking like the 2019 Golden State Warriors. Like, what the hell is that? So 48%, 44%. Looks like community is leaning towards the Knicks, but nothing overwhelming there. Next up, Miami, Houston. I bet this one. All right, we got to a game, I bet.
Go.
So I'm on Miami here, and I feel like I don't even need to. You guys should know why. I gave a long speech about this yesterday. The Rockets have been exposed, man. This team isn't good. The only reason the Rockets are carrying any sort of value is what they did during that little hot streak. And the teams they played during that hot streak, it's not like, oh, they had an easy patch of schedule. They hit like a historically, like, I don't know if anyone's played an easier stretch of schedule in the history of basketball. Like their toughest game over a 10-game stretch was like Cleveland with no Mitchell, Mobley, Strus, and Wade. That was like their toughest game. So I don't think the Rockets are any good. And Miami, I like backing Miami in the spots where, okay, so in the spot, Miami's one of those teams that, like, in the spots where you think they should show up, that's when I don't trust them. But then the spots when you count Miami out, that's when I trust them. They're that kind of team in my brain. And this is a spot like on a back-to-back after they lost to a Philly team that is just recovering from injuries. Who knows what that team's going to look like? They were favored last night. Now they go on the road to Houston on an immediate back-to-back. Not to mention, the Rockets' defense against a three-point shot has completely fallen off. That was what was keeping them on that win streak. They were shooting the three well, and they were defending the three well. Both those metrics are gone. Now that they've started seeing good teams, they're getting lit up from three, and their three stop falling. In which case, they're starting to look like a bottom three team in the West, which, let's be honest, they probably are. We saw a little flash there, but that's what they probably are, and they're starting to look like that. So against a Miami Heat team coming off a loss, I've got the Heat money line at minus 122. That's what I bet here. I'm in on Miami.
I'm with you. I think that this is sort of, and I think we talked about it a couple days ago when I was on. This is just, to your point, like waiting for the Heat, waiting for the Rockets to show that they can lose and come back and get back to that, like, playing well style of basketball. They didn't have a hard schedule. They lost now 3 games in a row. Like, until they show me that they can win after and, show some resilience, I'm down to just fade Houston, especially when a team like the Heat, who at the very least, they're going to try and punch you in the mouth type of thing. It's not going to be an easy spot for them.
Yeah, I gave a little speech about in the Mavs game, which was 3 Rockets games ago, and Dallas was my top bet that night. And I gave like a speech, like, guys, I think it's time to fade the Rockets. And I've hit them every time since. I did push with Minnesota -7, but so far I don't see any reason to hop off that train. Fade Houston.
Yeah, same. I won't take too much time. That's really it. They died last night. They were shot twice in the chest and once in the head. It's what happened. And they were just put out of their misery. I didn't think Ime Udoka would give up, but like third quarter came around, they were down. They couldn't get it within 12 or 15 points even. And then Dillon Brooks didn't come back in. Amin Thompson also is now hurt. Like, I don't know who we're going to see playing a ton of minutes tonight, but I don't know if Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks are going to get the normal 35 minutes that they've been playing at this point. So it would be the most Heat thing ever to lose it, but it is a spot where you're like, fade the Heat. They suck now, and now you got to take them.
Right, and now they'll look great. And also, I think a big part of the Rockets' win streak was I guess confidence would be the word. They believed that they were a good team. Like, they truly did. And you know what? A lot of us did too. We were like, holy shit, the Rockets. I don't think they believe that anymore.
Yeah,
I think they've been brought down to reality, and the reality just sank in that the season's over and that they're not a very good team right now. All that magic you were seeing from them, Nah, the movie's over.
Dude, that was the
Movie's
Wizards.
over.
Yeah.
The episode is over.
Yeah. Guys, this is a bad one.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring this one up.
I just loaded up all the games, but trust me, watch Evan as a bet on this game.
I don't.
Oh, Evan, I thought you would have a bet.
I mean, who am I to judge? I bet the Wizards, Blazers game, but I don't even have a close to a bet in this game, so we could just move on unless you guys have anything to say. No? Okay. I'll tell you, I wanted to bet Memphis, but with Jackson out, I needed Jackson in there. With Jackson out, all of a sudden I'm like, Detroit might be able to score points in this game, in which case, no. Next.
Yep.
Here we go. Spurs, Pellies. You ready for this, gentlemen? I got Spurs on the money line.
You dog.
Spurs are winning this one outright. Now, obviously, I want to preface this. People that have been watching me for a couple years know how this works. But in case you're new, I took a money line. I think I got it at plus 545. The idea is we're gonna hit, like, when I see these spots, it's going to be profitable, but it's not going to have a high hit rate. So it's and a lot of people might be watching like, oh, this guy just nailed Nets money line against the Pacers the other night, and this is a lock. It's not like that. But the idea that there's an 11.5 point gap in a spot where the Pelicans have Phoenix on deck, a huge game for the Pellies. And I know New Orleans has been losing, and they need this win. So I'm not saying it's a look ahead spot, but there's a much better game for the Pellies on deck. And if you really look at the Spurs' last 5 games, let me pull it up. If you really just sit there and look at how the Spurs have been playing, won't even look at efficiency numbers. Let's literally just look at game logs here. 1 second. Spurs' last 5 games. So they beat the Suns, went into Utah, beat the Jazz, beat the Knicks. Then they lost to Golden State, who is looking red hot. Then they lost on the road in Denver. And by the way, both those games, they lost by 4 points and 5 points. At Denver and against Golden State, who Golden State on the road is as good as it gets as far as a road team. In what world are you going to lay 11.5 points to this team? Remember, this is a New Orleans team that, very good team, but without Ingram, they're lacking outside shooting. They're very reliant on scoring in the interior, and they're good scoring down there. And it looks like Zion is going to play. When I placed the bet, there was a chance that he might, but I was down to play this either way. But I placed it saying like, yo, if he's ruled out, I'll be holding value. I don't think that's a thing. I think let me go find it real quick. Zion is still questionable.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought I read that he is probably going to play. Did you guys see anything on that?
I didn't see anything that said that.
I mean, it is a finger, so it's not like it's a knee or something like that. But
I mean, we've seen Zion sit with some questionable injuries before.
That's true.
But that's true. So for starters, this is a New Orleans offense. So even better, this is a New Orleans offense that's relying on scoring in the inside. If Zion Williamson doesn't play, this would probably be a pick'em. And even if he does play, without the jump shooting, I can't bet the Pelicans to win by a huge margin here when they got Phoenix on deck, shorthanded. So I'm on the Spurs. I took the plus 11.5 and the money line at plus 545, I think.
Well, you convinced me to take the money line because I already got 11.5 with you. I'm right alongside you. I have nothing to add. Victor Wembanyama down low on a team that needs to score down low. I mean, CJ could go off. Definitely like point guards and above the break stuff is available if you want it against this Spurs team. It's not CJ McCollum points over now that I'm really thinking about it. Is probably a great play considering Zion's not going to be in there. Dude's going to take like 25 shots. So even if he's at like a 22.5, 23.5 point prop, which he's been sort of the ceiling of his prop lately, I think that's a pretty good look for CJ with or without Zion, to be honest with you. If Zion's in there, might consider assist for him because I think once he gets like, Wemby just had 8 blocks. We almost just saw a quadruple double, right? Like this dude is a one-man offense. The Spurs could be good next year with the way this dude's already that good. So I'll tell you with a little like 0.1 or 2 units there on the money line, but I already got a full unit on the 11.5.
And it seems like everyone's taking the Spurs here, which doesn't scare me off my bet at all. But definitely a little bit like looking at it like, okay, wait, why isn't it going down? Then if they're taking Spurs action, I mean, I gave it out on Discord, so I know certainly a lot of my people went and bet it. So I mean, people out there must be people out there pretty comfortable in their Pelicans position. Evan, are you one of them?
I'm not. I am on the Spurs here as well. And it's not even like you could put this game in a vacuum, and I don't think the Pelicans, like regardless of having the Suns on deck, like I thought this should be a 7.5 point spread type of thing. You talked about teams punting or teams try, like the Spurs are trying, like they're just trying to play basketball. I don't think that type of organization is a let's just throw in the towel, especially when they're trying to build around Wemby. So that many points is. It was kind of crazy to me because the Pelicans, I am coming at it from an emotional standpoint too. I bet the Pelicans like 5 times in the last, week and a half, and they have stunk it up.
That Orlando game, man.
So I did say that in my video today. I was like, I am kind of taking it as like a vengeance here, but like all the boxes get checked as well. This is just too many points. I don't know if my cojones are big enough to take a money line. You're dragging over there, so maybe I can jump on board with you. But I'm definitely liking that spread right there. But you know what? You've convinced me to take crazy money line picks before. It may happen again. Who knows?
Yeah, in the NBA, well, the math. I ran the math since 2000, and the math shows that since 2000, when you have an NBA underdog of 5 points or less, it's been more profitable to take the money line. So this year I'm running an experiment. Anytime I like a dog 5 points or less, I split my money, take the points, and the money line has been very profitable. Obviously, 1 year sample size, not enough to draw any conclusions. This doesn't apply to that. Plus 11.5, but I think it's in the NBA where there's so much variance. If you like a team and you like them to compete, it's a very realistic chance that they win the game. So I like it. And also, the reason for those numbers, for those of you that don't know, and I'll make this really brief, I feel like everybody knows the key numbers in the NFL, right? 3, 7, 10, 4, 6, 14. Like, everyone knows that. It's common sense. If you watch football, you know that. In the NBA, not as many people know. The key numbers in the NBA are 5 through 9. Those are the big ones. So when you see a plus 4.5 dog, if you're betting them, that means you think they have a realistic chance to win. So it makes logical sense as well. My bad. I'm going on a rant. Let's go to the next game.
It's preach, bro. Like 5 points, 5-point NBA spreads is a thing people should know about. Like we talk about all these key numbers in football. Like why don't we talk about key numbers in
exactly?
Boots,
right? And 5 through 9 is. I think it was in those. It's 6.7% average. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be just over a 30% chance that the game lands between 5 and 9.
Right, and it's an obvious reason. It's fouling. Teams are not going to keep fouling if they are down more than 2 possessions. And once you get to 6 and 7, and you're down 2 possessions, it doesn't make sense to foul because you're going to be down 3 possessions if they make 1 or 2 of their free throws. So it's really simple math.
Bingo. Golden State, Dallas. Another game I bet. See, I told you guys I had bets down. You guys didn't want to believe me. I told you I had some bets down. We had to shuffle through the trash first.
Thank God you have bets on your betting show. This is great.
Bro, we did
just show up and look pretty.
We did an MLB show yesterday, and the MLB slate was only 5 games, and it was ugly. And I did take Cleveland money line, so I gave out 1 bet. But there was people in the comments like, "What the fuck am I watching this for?" Like, you suck.
Bets or shut up.
Yeah. So I bet this one, but someone else. I feel like you got to go Dallas, right? That's what you guys. All right, beautiful. Ev gave me the nod.
I'm on Dallas. I already bet it too.
Me too.
We loved them a couple days ago against Golden State, and they came up flat. This is a bounce back spot for it. It has to be. We said the same thing a couple days ago, but it just has to be.
Can I interrupt real quick? Luka's questionable, just so y'all know. That is something to keep in mind. And Giannis, by the way, might not. I think he's doubtful to play in that Bucks game. Just to throw that back out there. So Ev's ticket's looking nice.
So
all right.
Yes. I saw someone in the comments mention that Giannis has been downgraded to questionable.
He's now doubtful, and that came at the same time.
Doubtful.
I didn't. This is officially questionable.
I didn't know about Luka, so that
just happened too.
I don't love seeing that, but you know what?
Yeah.
I don't want that screenshot of me going head to head with Evan with Bucks minus.
Oh yes, I'm going back to get it.
Let's go.
I just want an asterisk that shows that was pre-injury asterisk.
5.
Yeah, so if I take a screenshot, I'll definitely put an asterisk in there.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna give word bubbles, and you're gonna be like, I'm so confident in the Bucks, and I'm gonna
like chop it up. No chance. Yeah. But to be honest, Josh, I'm not really worried about Luka here because the truth is, I know Dallas and Golden State is a huge rivalry, right? These teams, I mean, they always have battles. Dallas usually gets the best of them. I think actually that was the first time Golden State covered against Dallas in 5 straight meetings. So Dallas usually gets the best of these guys. These teams, I don't want to say they don't like each other, but they're rivals. you know what I mean? They're not like, it's not
Play in the
hateful.
playoffs. They
Right.
played in the playoffs a lot. Yeah.
Right. And so these two teams are rivals. Golden State just beat them. And now, so you would think, oh, this is going to be a big game. Actually, the bigger game for Golden State was last night. That was a much bigger game for Golden State. They just secured their spot in the play-in, Golden State, last night. Rockets are done. They put them down for the eternal nap until 2025. So Golden State just secured their play-in. That was essentially a playoff atmosphere game last night. This one, not so much. Not that Golden State isn't going to get up, but this is a Dallas team who they just lost to Golden State, and they played the Hawks in between. Who gives a shit about an Eastern Conference game? Dallas should be much more motivated for this one than Golden State. Also, I'd look under here because from what we saw, what we've seen recently from these teams, Golden State seems to be turning it up on the defensive end. Dallas has been playing defense at an elite level for about 3 weeks now. And look what we saw in the first matchup. Just defense, defense, defense. The Warriors defense really shows up. So a total seems a bit high. So I would also lean under, but I just rolled with the Mavs here. I'm on Dallas. I'm with you, Ev.
Yeah, you went. I guess you said your piece of it. I mean, I feel all that. I also went under. I lost the value. My edge was good at 228.5, where I took the under for this game.
Oh, you did take
220. Yeah, 225.5 is a little bit scary, so I don't feel as comfortable giving it out at that number. I don't think it's going to go back up either, to be honest with you. Jonathan Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins are both questionable as well. I mean, those two dudes do very similar things, and without both of them, your athleticism just dropped like marginally, right? More than marginally. So I think, yeah, like you said, the defense has been the calling card for actually both these teams. I cannot believe that the Mavs covered last night. Everything you guys were saying about the reason you're taking the Mavs and how last night should have been a look-ahead game for the Mavs, it was a look-ahead game, and they still covered in that one, right?
They accidentally covered.
Yeah, exactly.
It was more the Hawks didn't cover.
Dude, exactly. They couldn't make a shot at the end of the game in the fourth quarter was really what did them down, because they were only down by like 7 or 8 points, and I had a decent amount on that game, so that was pretty annoying. But the under for this one feels a lot more right with the way that, like, look, Clay hit like 100 threes last night for them to get the amount of points they did. I'm not banking on that happening again. So he does like playing the Mavs. I will say that that's another team that Clay likes to kill. But either way, yeah, this is two teams that are trending towards playing a lot better defense and still good offense, but not as good. So.
All right, so we're all leaning towards Dallas, all leaning towards the under. Well, actually, Ev didn't mention the total, but it sounds like he agrees with us that under would be the move.
Yeah. Who am I to say no?
Actually, I'm surprised to see 49%, 46%. I figured Dallas would be like a super public side, to be honest. And maybe it is, according to the pie charts in the bottom left, but not according to our poll. A lot of people out there taking Golden State. So let's move on to the next one. 2 games left. Minnesota, Phoenix. And did not bet this one. I want to. I want to bet this game. Someone help me get a Phoenix bet down. Can either of you guys do it? I want to bet Phoenix. But I feel like I'm being irresponsible.
Where I'm leaning. I'm leaning so far. My head is hanging over the fence. But like we need to nudge each other. It sounds like, because it's tough.
We
like
need to nudge each other.
Is there phrasing there? Was that phrasing?
So I just think I know Minnesota's defense is elite, but they're more so elite on the interior. They're still a great defense outside against jump shooters, but not quite as elite. On the interior, this is like top 3, probably top 1 defense in the NBA as far as protecting the paint, protecting the basket. But this is the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker and Durant and Bradley Beal. They don't care. Cool, protect the paint. We're gonna shoot from out here. They don't care about attacking the interior. So. And now so that I feel like that changes Minnesota from a top 3 defense in the NBA to like top 10, top 12 defense if we're focusing specifically on the jump shooting. And the Suns are hitting shots at an insane rate. They're first in effective field goal percentage in the last 10 games. They are just hitting their shots. And with that kind of talent, if the Suns are hitting their shots, I learned the hard way because I took Cleveland against them the other night, +6. If those shots are falling, they could beat anybody in the league. I would take them against Denver if the shots are falling. Exhibit A, we just saw them go into Denver and beat them. So if the Suns' shots are falling, I think they're a top 3 team in the league because just no one can keep up with their offense. So I don't want to step in front of that. It seems like the Suns, by the way, Phoenix playing some defense now. It seems like the Suns are like, guys, you guys want to stop bullshitting and actually play basketball now? That's what it seems like. Because I watched that entire Cleveland game, and yes, the Cavs looked terrible. Don't get me wrong. Cleveland looked like shit, but the Suns were playing excellent defense. They were by far the better defensive team than Cleveland healthy. So the Suns are giving it all on both sides, and their shots are falling. How can you fade them right now? That being said, I didn't bet it. So does anyone want to? Does anyone want to co-sign?
Did you bet it?
I didn't. It sounds like we're all in a similar boat too. Like even in my video this morning, my mind hasn't changed since then. It's. I think the Suns win this game. It seems for whatever reason 4/4.5 points could be a little bit too many, and it's crazy because that is such a low number. But you kind of just even talked about the probability if you like a team underdog. Like I don't want to lay 4 points and then it one be a close game, or two Minnesota's out to the races winning this one. Like it just seems like a tricky spot. So I definitely want to get to Phoenix. That is my side. But honestly, if I had a gun to my head right now, I'd probably end up picking up the points and keeping them in my pocket for the game because it's too many. It's just too many to lay.
So if you had a gun to your head, you would take Minnesota. Is that what you're telling me?
I think reluctantly, yeah. I'd be pretty reluctant that I have a gun to my head.
He threw in the word reluctantly.
He did, yeah. It's tough to know what you do when you have a gun to your head when you don't have a gun to your head.
We need to arrange that.
So.
Do you know a guy?
Yeah, I mean,
let's spice up the show.
Yeah, definitely. Put a water pistol. But,
I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute. Let's see.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Bro, I think here's why I would bet on the Suns, and I'm trying to get there with it. And I mean, I got my live stream here in a few hours and might have that pick by then. But like where I'm going to be at with the Suns is like they're very good against teams that have down low defense and not as good wing defense. Like you said, it's just there's a clear correlation between teams that are not as good or are better interior than exterior, right, out on the 3-point line defensively. So that is, the Pellies of Cleveland were a great example of that. And then losing to OKC is a great example of that. They are a very good jump shooting guarding team. They're wing heavy. Chet is their only down low presence. And if you back to the basket against him, you can probably put him under the basket if you're big enough, right? So there's not much to like there. The other thing is like the Suns have played small against this team for sure. They've actually taken Nurkic out and kept him at lower minutes per game than he normally would play when they play against the Wolves and just try to run Rudy off the floor. So if my predictions are all correct about how that's going to go, the Suns should win by more than 4. This game should go to like 225. Ant Edwards should have like 100 points as well because he's just going to be doing the bulk of the scoring with Rudy off the floor. It's just like give it to him and have him do his thing. The Suns are not as good at against ISO ball, and he is a dude playing up top. Like he and Mike Conley probably do a lot of scoring in this game from up top, playing outside themselves, and we just see this turn into a lot more of a pace and space and jump shooting kind of game without true centers playing as many minutes. And if that does hold true, then my player props are going to be easy. The over should hit, and Phoenix should definitely cover at least 3.5 or so.
To go off on that, and Aaron in the comments brought it up. So Nurkic is questionable, but actually there's a guy that comments on my videos, and he's either, I don't know if he's a diehard Suns fan, but whenever I do a Suns video, he always comments his thoughts, and you could tell he follows the shit. Like he drops some good shit. So apparently he's saying Nurkic might be, and this is what he said in the comment, that Nurkic might be intentionally questionable because the Suns are having turnover issues and Minnesota's first forced turnover rate. So they want to take him off the court. And as you said, draw Rudy Gobert away from the paint and reduce the turnovers. So apparently Nurkic being questionable might be a strategic decision, which makes all the sense of the world. And you briefly said that. So that's number one. Number two, Grayson Allen is probably back for Phoenix. He just sat out against Cleveland, and they shot the lights out against Cleveland without Grayson Allen, who's probably their best shooter. That's number two. And number three, I forgot to mention this, the Suns own Minnesota. 8-1 straight up, 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 meetings against the T-Wolves. 8-1. So Minnesota struggles with this team. Damn it. Am I talking myself into it?
You kind of are. You kind of got me into it.
The thing is, with 15 MLB games, 12 NBA games, I have so many open bets that, like, I should probably call the number. I have so many open bets right now. I don't know if I need to open up another ticket, but I want. But let the record show I want to.
You're gonna have to have some sort of screenshot though to counter my Toronto and Milwaukee one. So
there you go.
You can't do it if you don't bet it.
I'd be lying if I said I still think the Bucks cover that without Giannis.
So you're doubling down. I knew it. I'm gonna cut this. I can cut everything up now.
I'll triple down against the Raptors, man.
So bad.
And we finish off with a game I could care less about.
Yeah.
Jazz Clippers.
Maybe we just make Final Four predictions instead of doing this segment.
Well, someone wanted to know about the women's game tonight. I personally I'm not familiar enough to give out a pick. I can tell you I'm rooting for UConn, but I don't even know where you would get women's college basketball advanced stats. I don't even know where you would find that. So,
dude, I learned the other day in your video that you were you're not a grad, but you were an attendee at UConn for a little bit.
6th weekend. That's when they gave me. I was banned from campus my 6th weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I did go. I did attend.
There you go.
It depends on what your definition of attend. I was there.
You're present.
Yeah.
That's attending.
Yeah, I was a lost soul back then. But yeah, so last game up. After last night, you would think fade the Clippers in like a letdown spot, but Jesus, it's the Jazz away from home. And let's pull up the Jazz injury report. There's no Kessler. There's no Markkanen. There's no John Collins. There's no Jordan Clarkson. In what world can we bet we bet the Jazz?
A world where Keontae George drops 40, I guess.
What about over? Clippers probably lazy on the defensive side in the game they don't give a shit about.
Probably, but do they have enough talent to just overcome that? I can tell you right now, I was on the Clips last night. It was a stinky bet because I was like, why are the Nuggets only 3.5, 4-point favorites? Like the books are trying to tell us here that this is not what you think, even though all public money came in on the Nuggets. So that was my stinky bet of the day that I hit in that one, knowing full well I was going to have no clue what to do tonight when they took on it. I had no clue what I went into that game feeling really good about them covering 4, having no clue what they were going to do tonight, and I still don't.
Well, as far as that game last night, now I didn't bet it. I passed. I gave out Nuggets or pass for that reason you just said. I was like, this is just weird. But when you look back at it, I mean, it kind of makes sense. The Nuggets without Jamal Murray go from a top 3 offense to pretty much a 14, 15, 16 offense. And the Nuggets on the road drop significantly as well. So if you combine the Nuggets on the road with no Jamal Murray, you're looking at maybe a bottom 10 offense. So laying 4 points on the road against a team that's been losing that needs a win, all of a sudden it makes a lot more sense. So I know a lot of people are like, it's rigged. And it's like, well, if you actually sit down and look at the numbers, it kind of makes sense. So
100%.
By the way, this is a pass for me. Over a pass, I'll say. Evan?
Yeah, I think I'll do the same. Over a pass. There's no reason to even take a side here.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, let's do a quick community parlay and let's get out of here. I got another MLB show at 4 for the night games. I don't even have night baseball bets down yet because during this time of year, I don't really handicap baseball. I rely on my squad to do it, and I go based on what they say. So I have a lot of bets open, and there's 9 MLB night games that I didn't even look at yet. Good Lord. Pacers money line. Oh, no, they voted for the Blazers. They didn't like my Wizards pick.
Hell yeah.
Magic minus 12. Celtics money line. All right, first poll is up for the community parlay. Cast your votes. While they were voting, you guys want to let them know where they could find your stuff?
Yeah, man. I'll just go first. It's all at Land Your Bets. On Twitter is the only place it's JL Boogie because that's a pain in the butt to change. But Land Your Bets. Got a live stream I'm doing each day at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So no overlap with you guys, I don't think either. But taking people to comments and the bets that they want to look at, and then kind of run through with some of my stuff with the model and the tools that I'm using. We kind of go over that stuff together, so I can kind of show people how to find some of these player props, especially.
Cool. So that's Land Your Bets is the name of his YouTube channel. And Ev, what is it Boston? Guy Boston Sports is the name of the channel, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Guy Boston Sports. At Ev Guy Boston on Twitter. I think my handle is...
I always that's why I always call you Ev, because when I first saw your name pop up before I met you, I thought you were like an EV guy.
Yeah, and I know.
Nothing against EV guys, just I had you misbranded.
Yeah, I mean it's tough too because like I have Ev picks and everything like that. It looks literally like EV picks, but you know what? I can't change my name, and if someone likes that and then sees it, maybe that you know what I mean.
Maybe it's out, and then they end up cursing you out like you're not EV.
That's like I never said I was.
Fraud. You fraud.
But yeah, Guy Boston Sports. You guys can find pretty much everything.
Cool. All right, so then we got Knicks money line. You guys like the Knicks? By the way, Celtics money line was second place. So if you voted Celtics, you'll get another shot with that. Heat's up to 3.5 now. So I guess Amen Thompson has been ruled out. I saw someone mention that in the comments. Grizzlies money line. I guess I'll put in this. And Spurs plus 11.5. All right, cast your votes. Yeah, this time of year is tough because I noticed that the mind of the gambler, like, so people that bet all sports right now are kind of like, okay, I've been losing in NBA. It's time to start fresh at plus 0.00 units. Brand new MLB. I miss baseball. And so, like, they're more excited, so they gravitate towards baseball. So I get it. But obviously, like, we can't just stop doing it. So it's a weird spot where obviously I need to put all my effort into the NBA because it's my job. But it's tough when all the people I was like corresponding with, they're not even paying attention to the NBA anymore. So it's like a weird time of year.
Yeah. I think it's still better to go with what you know, than just cater at that point.
Yeah. I love baseball, and I get really into baseball, but it's so much work that I can't really like hammer it until I need the NBA to be in the playoffs. Because NBA in the playoffs, it's the same matchup 6-7 times, where it takes a lot less time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And with baseball, it's similar to basketball in that, like, baseball is like, I got to know park, pitcher, like lefty, righty. I got to know the weather. It's like trying to navigate an NBA injury report. Yep. To be honest, like if this dude's, it's a freaking matrix, right? Like we're like Charlie from It's Always Sunny with the freaking board where you're trying to figure it all out. Like I get all that. So it's similar stuff with a lot of work.
Yeah, the baseball. What I like about baseball is the baseball MLB regular season, not crazy popular as far as people who watch it and follow it, but the betting community, extremely popular. Betting rules baseball.
It's a really cool betting sport just because there's so. And I mean, basketball is right there. Same with football with analytical stuff, but like I don't know if anything competes with how much is out there what you can look into for baseball. Like if you want to find an edge, you can find it, type of thing, which makes us feel good. Obviously, it's not always right, but
right. And I have so many different models and spreadsheets for creating content. Like I have everything out there. And I'll be flipping through YouTube and put on a channel I've never seen before and be like, oh, I've never even thought to look at it like that. Like there's so many different ways you could look at baseball. Where, it's a lot of fun. All right, so it's Pacers money line, Heat money line so far. By the way, Blue Jays up 1-0. What's up? Oh, I didn't bet it. I gave it out on the show, but I didn't actually bet it. Whatever. If anyone tailed, what's up, Blue Jays?
All right, we got Pacers money line, Heat money line.
Someone said you guys are better than ESPN analysis. Well, this is a different market. ESPN, they target like views and clicks, and who could blame them? They're a media company, and our audience is more. We're looking for numbers and research. So it's not that like, oh, we're better than ESPN. It's just we're just completely different markets.
But we're also better.
Well, I mean, I think so too. But I mean, if ESPN wanted to do this better, they could. They have the resources.
Yeah. But agreed. That's my main point. Is like we're not just sitting here being like, well, I think this and I feel this way. It's like no, we're looking at stuff to come up with analysis for the sport. Even if you were not talking about betting, I think what we're talking about here is still a better way to look at how the game is going to go and talking about it ahead of time.
Well, every time. And you can't even blame ESPN for that because every time I'll like get mad at ESPN's Instagram, be like, why does this crap keep popping up? If you go on ESPN's Instagram account and you look at a post, they'll share like Lamar Jackson's home away splits or something. They'll have like 5,000 likes. They'll share Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. It has 50,000 likes and 100,000 comments. It's like, well, they're just giving you guys. They're just giving you guys what you want. That's what you're commenting on. That's what they're going to keep posting. How do you even get mad at ESPN? They're doing their job as the social media department. They're posting what you guys engage with.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see more of the analytical stuff, more of the football, I click like when I see highlights and stats. Yeah,
that's the only thing I would. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say because like when the Taylor Swift post goes off, it's because that's a wider group of people that care. right? Like if the wider group of people sees the Lamar Jackson stats graphic, they're like, I don't care about this. I care about Taylor Swift, or whatever. So it's tough.
The wild part is the people that complain about seeing the Taylor Swift stuff will scroll right past the Lamar Jackson stuff, read 100 comments in the Taylor Swift stuff, and they go complain to people that they see the Taylor Swift stuff when they scrolled right past the stuff they're claiming they want to see.
People just want to bitch, man. We all just want to bitch.
So Suns money line completes the parlay, by the way.
All right. Suns ML.
Yo,
what do you think it's at,
Ev,
bro?
I just happened to see your short the other day, and I don't know who you were talking about. Don't care. We don't have to bring it up. But it was funny when you were like...
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're about to say.
I don't even watch those shorts, but for some reason I opened the YouTube app when I woke up, and that was just like the first thing I saw. And I was like, what is he
Shout
doing?
out to YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I watch your stuff. I try to at least. But I usually don't watch like the short TikTok-y stuff from people. Not just you, anybody. That's just not really my type of... But I just happened to click that one, and I was like, yo, what is going on? And then I clicked
What it is.
And then I clicked on the comments, and one of the top comments was, "Tell me he's talking about Kirms." I was like, "Damn."
I guess it was.
Yo.
No, it wasn't. No, I like mixing it up in the mud every now and then. You know what I mean? Like people rag on me for going after what I call like the haters, the guppies. It's like, come on, we're all like, when I'm hanging out with my friends and stuff, we rag on each other, and it's like this is the internet.
Like, I mean. You could talk some shit without being disrespectful. It's fun. Who cares?
Yeah.
Damn, Kyle. I was trying to see if you knew. I have that list pulled up too. I was gonna see if you could guess the odds for that parlay. That should be a part of the community parlay.
It's like insane how good I've gotten at that. But the community parlay, and by the way, I don't know if you guys saw plus 987 baseball parlay.
Saw that.
Community hitting a nice one. Yeah, hit. And our NBA one was plus 890 something. Same night. Nuggets ruined it at the end. Needed Nuggets money line. So the community almost hit a plus 980 and a plus 890 in the same night. But anyway, this one, Pacers money line, Heat money line, Mavericks money line, Suns money line plus 457. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back in 1 hour for the 9-night MLB games. It'll be me, Toast, and Prop Beaver. Make sure you give these guys a follow and subscribe to their YouTube channels if you don't already do so. Let's have a good one, guys. It's a big night. There's a lot of sports on. Please bet responsibly. Spread your money out. Pick your spots. Do not go all in on one thing. Or we got a long weekend of betting. Let's not blow it all in the first night.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later.
See you.